can see on the screen there the two teams I'll be talking about today. It's going to be Cronulla-Sutherland Sharks against the Canberra Raiders. Is this a rivalry or is it not? So just a bit of a background about both teams, starting with Cronulla first. If you didn't already know, if you're new to the Rugby League or if you just need a refresher, they were founded in 1967 and they only have the one premiership, which they won in 2016. So it took them 49 years to win their first premiership, which is the longest of any team in the history of Rugby League in Australia. And as for Canberra, they were founded in 1982. They won the three premierships, 1989, 1990 and 1994. And they currently have the second longest premiership drought in the NRL behind Parramatta. Now, as of the recording of this video, these two sides have played 82 matches against each other since Canberra first came into the competition, and they've had 41 wins apiece. The first ever match between these two sides was on the 2nd of May 1982, where Cronulla defeated Canberra 44 points to 5 at Seaford Oval in Queanbeyan, and that year Canberra picked up their only wooden spoon since they've ended the competition. In terms of geographical location, the two sides are not close to each other geographically. Canberra to Cronulla, the distance is 173 miles or 279 kilometres, and it's approximately a 3-hour drive in a car. When it comes to finals appearances, these two clubs have met 7 times in the finals, and the first came in 1989 where Canberra defeated Cronulla, and as we all know, Canberra went on to win the premiership that year. In 1997, they bizarrely met twice during the finals of the split competition when both clubs were in the Super League. Cronulla won both of those. In 2008, Cronulla defeated Canberra, and that was the year that they ended up making the preliminary final until they bottled it against Melbourne. 2012, Canberra defeated Cronulla in the finals. Of course, the infamous 2016 finals game where Cronulla upset Canberra there at Bruce Stadium, and the last time these two sides met in the finals were 2020, where Canberra defeated Cronulla in the elimination final, which ended Cronulla's season. So currently Cronulla have 4 wins in the finals over Canberra, and Canberra's defeated Cronulla 3 times in the finals. Now, some notable games between the two that have caused a bit of controversy over the years, or there have been big moments. The first one I could find were in 2012, where Paul Gallen accused Josh Papali'i during the final series loss that Papali'i dog-shotted him, and it wasn't picked up by the referees, and apparently for a couple of years after the match that Paul Gallen would tell his players before the fixture against Canberra that he was looking forward to getting one back on Josh Papali'i. The second one I want to mention is round 24 of the 2014 NRL season. That year Canberra and Cronulla were both not doing too well in the NRL, and it came down to the final rounds of the year, and these two sides actually played in the Spoon Bowl game that year. So basically pretty much whoever was going to lose that match would finish with the wooden spoon, and on that occasion Canberra would defeat Cronulla 22 points to 12 at Shark Park, and it meant that Canberra would narrowly avoid the wooden spoon, and as for Cronulla, unfortunately they would come last in 2014. Now, probably the most notable fixture between these two clubs is the 2016 qualifying final down there at Bruce Stadium in Canberra. That year both teams had a very strong season, and in that qualifying final, in my personal opinion anyway, I think it's one of the best finals games that I've seen. This game had a bit of everything. Of course, Canberra raced out to a 12-0 lead. Cronulla fought back. Matt Pryor had one of the best games of his career. Josh Hodgson went off injured. There was lots of drama. Of course, Paul Gallen didn't play in this game. But after the full-time siren, it caused a lot of controversy when Michael Ennis imitated the Viking clap, and he went over to the Canberra supporters and was riling them up, and he was imitating the Viking clap, and it's one of them things that has gone down in Cronulla and Canberra folklore. And there's still Canberra supporters I see online to this day that talk about Michael Ennis in a very bad way and go, he's the guy that imitated our Viking clap and he can piss off and all that type of stuff. So even today, almost 8 years later, there's still bad feeling towards Michael Ennis and Cronulla. Of course, ironically, a couple of years later after Michael Ennis retired, he actually worked with Canberra. He was working behind the scenes. I think he was either one of the hooking coaches there, or he had some sort of role with the attack at the club. And there's a couple of pictures of him at training there with the Canberra kit on. And he even said that a couple of years after the incident that he phoned the Canberra club and said that he wanted to blow the horn before the players run out and did the Viking clap, but apparently the club never got back to him, which is no surprise. But yeah, that's a bit of irony for you there, that the Canberra fans hated him for what he did and they ended up working for them. Another match I want to mention is a 2018 match between the two clubs right towards the end of the season. This game was played at Sharp Park and it ended 28 points to 24 in Cronulla's favour. However, there were some pretty dodgy calls during the game. Canberra fans claimed that they were ripped off, they were dudded throughout the match. And even after the game, Ricky Stewart said either the bunker has to be rid of altogether or it needs a massive overhaul, because he said that pretty much the decisions in that game cost his chance, any team, of making the finals, because Canberra narrowly missed out on the finals that year, and this game were absolutely crucial for them if they were going to reach the finals. So I'm pretty sure Canberra fans would like to forget this match, but it was one that ended in a lot of controversy. And just recently, last year in round 3, this wasn't particularly between the two clubs, but it was between players that featured for either side on the field. And it were between Canberra's Corey Horsburgh and Cronulla's Royce Hunt. During the game, these two players got involved in a bit of a fight on the field, and Royce Hunt punched Corey Horsburgh in the face, which is not allowed in today's game, and he was sent to the sin bin. And after the game, Royce Hunt accused Corey Horsburgh of hiding behind some of his players and called him a bit of a coward and a weak-gutted dog, as he said in reference to what Ricky Stewart called Jamin Salmon. And Royce Hunt also said in no uncertain terms that next time I see Corey Horsburgh, or next time we play against Canberra, he's going to cop it. But I think the rematch never happened in 2023 because either Royce Hunt were injured or suspended. I don't really remember, but that's another point in the match between these two clubs. Now looking at some players that have played for both clubs, and to be honest, since 1982 there hasn't been a whole lot of player transfers between the two clubs, or even direct transfers, but some of the names I've managed to find are, and some of the more high profile names are Josh Dugan. He played for both clubs. I would probably go as far to say Josh Dugan's probably the most high profile player to have played for both clubs, however he wasn't a direct transfer. Another sort of high profile player you could say is Edric Lee. He was a direct transfer between both clubs. Of course, I believe that he started with Canberra and then went on to Cronulla later on, then Newcastle, and now he's at Redcliffe. And another high profile player that was a direct transfer was Blake Ferguson. He actually started his career at Cronulla and then he went to Canberra where he ended up getting sacked, and of course him and Josh Dugan were known as the Cruiser Brothers, and I think they still are known as the Cruiser Brothers. And some of the other players I managed to find are Scott Dudman, Matthew Corkery, Brett Kelly, Bronx Goodwin, Sammy Suolami, Stuart Flanagan, Matt McKilrick, Adam Clydesdale and Royce Hunt. And of course, Ricky Stewart, he used to be the head coach of Cronulla. He got them to a preliminary final in 2008 where they bottled it against Melbourne. They should have made the grand final that year, but they didn't. And since 2014, he's been the head coach of Canberra, where he took them to a grand final in 2019. Now, with all the facts and everything that I've spoken about just now, do I think that Cronulla and Canberra is a rivalry? In my personal opinion, I don't think it's a rivalry. The two clubs have played in some big games here or there, but besides the 2016 match, there hasn't really been anything besides that for me personally. Yes, there were a bit of bad blood in that game and a bit of a fallout, but overall, I don't consider this to be a rivalry. The players themselves have kind of come out and said, yeah, there's a thing about 2016, but besides that, there's not really anything there between the two clubs. I know there might be some Canberra fans out there that will never forgive Michael Ennis or some of the Cronulla supporters that were there that day mocking the Viking clap, but for me, there's one sort of big finals game where one of the opponents or fans mocks another team's song or mocks what they do. Does that therefore constitute a rivalry and make it like a permanent one? For me, it's a no. Especially considering the fact that just a couple of years after this all took place, Canberra employed Michael Ennis to work at their club. Now, if they really hated Cronulla and they hated Michael Ennis, would they employ him? I think not. But what do you think? Do you think that Canberra and Cronulla are rivals? And let me know in the comment section below. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. For me, it's a resounding no, but if you disagree, then place your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know which rivalry video you'd like me to do next. I'd be interested to hear which suggestions that you've got. And thanks to everyone that has been watching me tipping videos recently. It's much appreciated. We're getting lots of views, lots of engagement. It's good to see. The channel's up to about 5,200 subscribers, so it's greatly appreciated your support and commitment to the channel. But anyways, this has been Rugby League History, and I'll catch us all later in the next one. Ta-ra for now.